beautiful people. We are back with another live LinkedIn and YouTube, and we are doing our very best. We're here. We actually got on at 12:15 instead of 12 o'clock today. And the interesting part is we were in the wrong studio altogether. My team and I were here. We got our setup. We're excited. I go live. It doesn't work at all. And it starts asking me all these questions and prompting me. And I thought, well, what's the problem? What's the challenge? I'm in the wrong studio. I was on the wrong recording. My assistant did such a fantastic job in getting all of the lives for this series set up for the next 4 to 5 weeks. I was in the wrong studio, didn't realize it. By the time I realized it, so much time has passed. But I'm here now, and I appreciate you all for being here with me. Thank you so much for your patience, for everybody who's been riding with us for a while. We love that you're back. And for those who are joining us live for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Leah Murphy, and we are here at Career Jumps for the journey to help professionals build thriving careers. So if you are with me live, you guys see we have a little bit of a new setup happening, and it's a love-hate relationship with the new setup because there is a beautiful potential for what we're trying to do here and all of this really exciting opportunity. But at the same time, change is hard and it requires additional adjustments and effort and things. And we're doing our best to make sure we give you a great viewing experience as well as audio experience. And that requires us to make a lot of adjustments on our end. So continue to be patient with us on the new setup. We appreciate your support and you riding with us. So we're going to get right into it today because we're already ripping and raring to go. For those of you who saw the intro, the Career and Care Summit is coming back. The Career and Care Summit is coming back for our second time. Last year, we had a phenomenal experience. It is coming back to Philadelphia at the Community College of Philadelphia, March 21st, 2026. You will see that update and all of that information available on the intro screen. And you'll also get an opportunity to be able to see some of the things that we're doing on our website at gemsforthejourney.org. You'll also see things on our LinkedIn. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be able to join us in person. The feedback from the last event was so phenomenal that we wanted to make sure we started the process earlier and you were aware and there were no barriers or reasons why you wouldn't be able to participate because we want you in the room. The Career and Care Summit is in celebration of Women's History Month. So we're doing it on March 21st. And we recognize that professional women need support in the areas of career, community, and care in order to be able to thrive. So because we recognize that, the Career and Care Summit was developed as a vision, as an absolute download from hearing from all of my clients and just really getting deep into the data for where professional women were looking for support and tools. So that's why the Career and Care Summit was born. Early bird tickets are available right now. You can go and grab those right now off of our website. So anybody who's joining me live, drop your city in the chat. I would sincerely appreciate that. And then you can head over to our website when you're done at gemsforthejourney.org to grab your ticket. So I'm going to step through today what you'll see in the episode title, From Layoff to Liftoff. From Layoff to Liftoff. And the reason why I wanted to make sure that I did this topic for obvious reasons. We are noticing such a dramatic change that is happening in industry generally. We're seeing certain sectors that are more impacted than others. We're also seeing just significant mindsets around jobs, career access, long-term stability, what used to be safe, and what is a challenge now, that I wanted to make sure we had a discussion about it. And you guys have heard me talk about layoffs before, but this is a fresh perspective. So I hope that you'll ride with me. The fresh perspective, I think the thing that's brand new and unique is now there are so many different people who are impacted by layoffs that the conversation has changed. And I want to make sure that from a job seeker perspective, if you're looking for new opportunities in your career, and also from a job hiring perspective, if you are hiring and looking for people, we are giving really thoughtful resources that can help you to be able to fill the gap in new opportunities, but also fill the gap in the long-term effects, the broader feeling that many of us may be having as we're navigating a job search process. So this is our first episode of Layoff to off. And we're really focusing on reclaiming the idea of careers being individualized journeys, careers being unique to you, not something that you can pull or draw from somebody else's experiences 100%. Your career is your own. And I want to make sure that we are grounded in what our layoff experience might be and the potential for liftoff following that. But what I'm noticing is there is a new conversation that needs to be had. So I'm here to have it. So I'm really glad that you're here. If you're here to learn and you want to grow and collaborate. So this episode is really focused on something that's transforming the job market. It's not job boards. It's not recruiters. It's not any one thing that we've kind of been pointing to for years and years and years. What it is job communities, layoff communities. So specifically layoff communities in online spaces where people support one another through the most destabilizing experience a professional can face. And I want to make sure that I give you guys a disclaimer. I'm not speaking about this from a research perspective alone, right? There is data and evidence that goes along with some of the information that I'm going to share today, but there's also personal lived experience. I personally have experienced the layoff in my corporate career, and some of the people closest to me have also experienced layoffs in their careers, be it corporate, be it nonprofit, or be it academia. So I'm telling you this not just from the research and the data, which there is tons of research and data. I'm also telling you it from a perspective of someone who's actually experienced it. So I'm raising my hand as to what I would have wanted to know or hear when I was navigating the layoff transition in my own career. Now, context matters. 2025 is something special as we are navigating tariffs, business uncertainty, we're navigating market shifts. 2025 is something special and something unique. So I want to make sure that you don't feel alone as you may be navigating it. And even if you're not navigating a layoff right now, we all have to be under the reality that layoffs are a part of the way businesses run today. Layoffs, restructuring, acquisitions, mergers, all of those things are just a part of the way business runs. So even if you are in an experience where you're happily employed at the moment, these gems that we're going to make sure we share with you today are going to be valuable for you, or maybe they're valuable for you to pass on to someone else, or maybe there's something that you'll have to put in the pocket to be able to pull out later in the future if you experience a layoff. Now, I want to know if anybody who's with me live has ever been laid off. I want to destigmatize it just right off the top. I've already told you I've experienced the layoff. Some of my closest friends, confidants, relationships have also experienced layoff at one time or more in their career. So I am of the mindset that it has nothing to do with you being an amazing talent. It has a lot to do with things that are often out of your control. The thing you can control is your performance, but oftentimes that's not the reason why layoffs happen. So let's get back to this discussion on layoff communities. So layoff communities are something that have been born organically, but we're going to start with a little bit of a definition. What are they? Those are communities or digital spaces on LinkedIn, Reddit, Discord, Slack, WhatsApp, tons of digital platforms where individuals who've recently been laid off or those who are navigating a layoff experience and knowing that it is coming, maybe they've been announced and they've been informed that a layoff is on the horizon, but they're gathering to offer support, to vent, to grieve and rebuild. And I say grief, and that might sound dramatic to some people, but many of us know that navigating a layoff is something that can shake us to our core. It can shake our confidence. It can shake our financial stability. It can shake our personal planning and all of the things that we may have had on the agenda for the year. That comes into question when you start to navigate a layoff experience. So grief is the right word for a lot of us as we're grieving relationships, compensation, stability, opportunity, effort that we've invested that can be lost at the time that a layoff happens. So these layoff communities started quietly, often by people who just wanted to make sure that others didn't feel alone. But last year, they really exploded. In 2024, we saw a significant uptick. And the reason why is because there are layoffs that are happening in tons of sectors. the one that we hear the most about is in tech sectors often. And even in tech sectors, we're hearing even more layoffs that are happening specifically in the human resources sector or in sectors that are more low-level roles tied to artificial intelligence. So as we think about the people who are affected, this is a broader audience that would have been affected by layoffs in the past. So the perception now has the ability, which I think is healthy, to adjust that people who get laid off are not damaged goods. They're not problem. They are really great performers oftentimes that are a victim of circumstances that are out of their control. So many layoffs can be unexpected, they can be isolating, and people need safe, non-performative spaces to be able to vent, to be able to grieve, to be able to bring resources together, to be able to learn more about what other people are navigating in other markets, in other regions. So they can be a really phenomenal resource, especially when they grow organically. So communities like Laid Off and Looking is one platform that we've seen, and they exist on Slack group. They can also exist on LinkedIn, but anywhere people are looking not just to find jobs, but to find community, to find hope, to find other people who are in a like-minded position and are looking to help one another wherever possible, or certainly looking to dispel any misinformation that they can find because people are actually experiencing this at the grassroots level. So what's going on in these layoff communities? What does it actually look like? So there's a lot that's happening. And because it's organic, because it is something that is not organized by an institution or a large organization, there's a variety of activities that's happening, which is what makes them healthy, which makes them thrive, is because it's based on the needs of the people in the group, and it's guided by those who are leading the group. So sometimes they're sharing live leads on new jobs, new opportunities. Sometimes recruiters will pop in to be able to share really direct referrals because they recognize that there is real talent that are operating in these layoff communities. Sometimes they will crowdsource and collaborate to do resume reviews, and they'll focus on how can we make sure that we connect one another to the right new technology, or how can we make sure that we give updates to say, I just got an offer at this organization, or I've been interviewing or doing this, or I decided to take this new skill on in order to make me a more attractive candidate. So that's some of the things that are happening. There's also some mock interviews. Folks are kind of taking some of this off the larger group setting and doing work together in small groups or one-on-one. That can look like mock interviews. It could also look like discussions on salary and compensation, which you guys know I'm a huge fan of. Community resources on navigating salary compensation, transparency with peers or people who are in similar industries to know what they're asking for compensation-wise and what they're getting offered is real-time data that often we don't have another way to be able to access. So I want those kinds of experiences to stay with us as long as possible, where we can be as transparent as we can about salaries so that we can all learn and we get this collective adjustment to what we know to be the new normal based on what market condition is. And also there's some need for just mental health check-ins. How are people doing? An opportunity to be able just to communicate, because when you're isolated, potentially at home and on the search, on the hunt, or navigating this layoff transition, sometimes you're just needing someone to talk to. You're just needing someone to acknowledge what you're navigating that understands. So some of the folks have said, and we saw some quotes, it's the first place where I didn't feel like I had to pretend that I was just okay and everything was great. Because lots of what we're navigating here is just a level of uncertainty that's very uncomfortable. And uncomfortable is a nice way to put it. There's a level of uncertainty that's scary for people. So these groups are flattening the traditional kind of career support idea. And there's no gatekeeping, right? Everybody is on level playing field because we're all navigating layoffs together. There's no shame, just human beings who are helping humans. And I absolutely love that. And as someone who is in the career development, professional services, career coaching business, I love that communities have found a way to be able to support one another. So let's take a moment to zoom out for a bit. Why are these groups getting so big right now? So job boards are feeling really transactional is part of it. We're seeing that there's lots of applications that are getting submitted and you hear nothing, or there's lots of data. And I just saw an article in the Wall Street Journal of a man who applied to over 100 jobs and heard absolutely nothing. So hearing nothing can sometimes be the most difficult part of navigating the layoff process. So communities, these platforms, these job communities really talk back. So knowing that even though it's a digital platform and these people are not sitting right next to you, they will be able to either encourage you or to acknowledge the frustration that you're having when those offers are not rolling in the way you would want them to be. Now, we know for a fact that AI is changing the job search. All of the artificial intelligence platforms, all of the large language models can help with crafting resumes and version control and updating and customizing to keywords. And I love that we're going to use technology to be able to help people get back into the workforce. But ultimately, they don't replace human feedback. They don't replace the need to make sure that your interview prep happens and that your recorded interview you can review and get real feedback on, or you can record live and be able to tailor your answers a little bit better or make certain adjustments. They just don't replace human feedback. So using the two together, using human feedback and whatever platform that you find most supportive from a large language model standpoint to be able to edit your resume and make updates, phenomenal. I'm here to tell you, this is not just a resume problem. So the way that layoffs are being distributed across industries and the fact that lots of people are not hearing back, this is not a resume issue alone. So there is a lot going on behind why layoffs are happening. We're not going to dig into that today, but I want to make sure that you give yourself the grace to say it's not the reason why you haven't gotten the next opportunity is not because you don't have great skills. It's also not because of one minor tweak to your resume. There is a shift in the market that's happening. The job reports that are coming out are really shifting the dynamic. This administration is really compelling industries and putting pressure on industries that at one point did not have those stressors in the background. So there are bigger forces at work. So mental health really matters, and I don't want us to forget that. Sometimes we can begin to doubt or question ourselves when we're navigating the layoff, and it can start to affect our feelings of anxiety. It can start to affect the feelings all over the spectrum. And I'm not a healthcare professional, so I want to make sure I'm a mental health professional. I don't want to dive into that. I've actually seen a lot of really talented professionals talk on this topic. I love Dr. Raquel Martin, who is all over social media and lots of platforms, who actually is a mental health professional, speaking to feelings and things that happen when you're navigating these kinds of shifts and challenges. So I want to make sure that peer support that you're going to have in these layoff communities is there. But I also want to make sure that you're getting support from a mental health professional if you can, and if you continue to have access to that, because that sometimes is tied to your benefits, and being laid off requires you to make an adjustment there. So I love Dr. Raquel Martin. She may not be your therapist, but she is a licensed psychologist, podcaster. She is a phenomenal resource. And I just love the language that she gives to help people navigate this season. So during these times, when you're laid off, when you're in this transition, oftentimes we start to ask questions. Do I want more of the same? Do I want to go back to the way that I was working before? Do I want to go back to a similar organization that I worked for? Or do I want to do something different? It gives you a time to redefine success, and it gives you a time to reevaluate what your priorities are. So that can be helpful as you're on your search. And these job communities, these layoff communities, can help you to validate those ideas, or they can also help you to say, I'm navigating a similar level of indifference, or I'm navigating a similar level of frustration. So that redefining success, maybe that opens the door to a new set of opportunities that would not happen had we not had other people, other community members available to help you navigate. So here's the kicker. Many recruiters are now scouting talent from these layoff communities. because they recognize that there's a hub of really great people who are all in the same place, and they're not necessarily on the job boards in the same way that they were, or these communities are a more targeted drop information in, and they're very responsive. So there's a bigger potential for recruiters to be able to tap into that, and it allows for direct contact with individuals, right? So there is some benefit to recruiters recognizing that, which I love that. So there are a variety of people who start and lead these communities. So some recruiters are just doing the work to pay it forward and say, I understand that this is a tough time, and I want to make sure that I can give some resources to job seekers. But there's also other individuals who are really helping to destigmatize and bring visibility, not only to layoff communities, but just to the idea that layoffs are happening and people are being affected, and that there's a direct human impact. I absolutely love that we're navigating a place where we're seeing more broader platforms that are talking about layoffs in a way that feels a little bit more normalized. And when we do that, we give folks the power to be able to feel like they are still human and that they are not an afterthought. So I've actually seen discussions about layoffs on LinkedIn, and not just on LinkedIn, but in LinkedIn Learning, for folks to navigate what layoffs look like. And as I think about that, and as I really sit in, Minda Harts is one of the people that I feel like does a good job on a LinkedIn Learning course. She has a new book out, Talk to Me Nice, which talks about workplaces in general, but she also has a LinkedIn Live or a LinkedIn Learning course where she talks about layoffs and navigating these challenges. And I think that normalization is helpful. So now we have resources that are big voices and have large platforms that are bringing the light to this important topic. So the real power is the leaders of these communities are not gatekeepers. They are cultivating a community of people in order to help them. That's the sincere purpose. And the impacts can ripple beyond a single job. The impacts can really help someone who is in a fragile place stay and get to a place where they're feeling more stable, and also be able to find a role that works for them. So let's make this a little bit actionable. So I talked about some of my favorite creators, platform leaders on LinkedIn, on other social media platforms that are giving great resources. And I want to make sure that I do the same. So if you're navigating a layoff, now is a great time for you to go and grab your pen and pencil, because we're going to get to some action requests. Or if you're listening to this, take a time to be able to pause, bookmark this section so that you can come back and re-listen to it later. So if you want to join a layoff group, you can find them on LinkedIn, Reddit, or you can even start your own. You probably are empowered to be able to find 4 or 5 people, 2-3 degrees of separation, who are also navigating a layoff and are looking for support. So when you're thinking about navigating and being very transparent about your layoffs, these communities are a great place to start, to find your voice, to commiserate, to gather resources, to be able to push each other and support one another. Community makes a huge difference. So ask for what you need in these communities. Take advantage of asking for a resume review, asking for direct leads, getting a sense of what the compensation discussions are for offers, getting a sense of whether or not you're getting to a first round interview or second round interview, getting a sense of if companies are asking you to do case studies or to do projects as you're navigating the interview process. Many folks who are laid off now have not been in the job market for a very long time. So just understanding what the requirements are of the job market can be helpful. So if you're currently employed and you're not navigating layoff right now, then you still have a great role that you can be able to play. You can support these communities by offering referrals. You can offer salary benchmarks or inside information to your organization. Obviously, nothing that is proprietary or confidential, but any information that you could share to be able to be transparent and help those who are currently looking for roles. You can help for people who are posting that they're looking for work. You can comment for reach. You can tag others in their posts so that the opportunities that you know of within your organization or other organizations can be made known to individuals who are navigating in these layoff communities. So I just want us to normalize these conversations. We want to make sure that we're thinking about it here at Career Gems for the Journey, and more broadly, we want to make sure that we normalize what's normal. And layoffs are a part of the new normal in this economy, especially here in the United States. So you don't need a massive platform to have an impact. You just need to be able to show up, take advantage, and share the resources that you have available so that the greater collective can benefit. So before we wrap, I just want to leave you with this. Community isn't something that is nice to have. Community is a survival tool. And as you navigate your career and your individual journey, I want to remind you that your career is your individual journey, and you have the tools necessary to be able to survive, and we want to help you to thrive. So taking advantage of the resources that are available to you to make sure that this information gets shared far and wide, because it's going to be useful and tangible to someone in your network. I promise you, to someone that you know, to a former colleague, to a former classmate, to you, to a friend, to a loved one. We're all navigating this new market, and I want to make sure that wherever the opportunity presents itself, we can show up and create community to solve some of these problems and to address some of these pain points. So tag someone who needs to hear this conversation. Share this live, or even better yet, invite someone in your network who's in transition to follow me on LinkedIn, to check out this YouTube series and this LinkedIn Live series. We're going to be talking about layoffs to lift off for the next 5 weeks. So take advantage, make sure that you tag someone else who could benefit. On the next episode, we're going to dive into the emotional roller coaster of layoffs and how to build your confidence with the help of others from these communities. Until then, I absolutely appreciate you for riding with me. I hope that we can be together again soon. We're not going to be live next Tuesday. I am going to be out of town taking some much needed downtime, but I also want to make sure that you guys come back to join us a little bit later. It's been amazing riding with you. I appreciate all the support that you guys continue to give to me, and I hope you give this same level of support to each other as we build out this community. And finally, until the next time, make your journey work for you.